Greetings, friends. Reformed Stoic here. A little something different for you tonight. I'm breaking my rule. I'm making a video within an hour of my bedtime, so I'm going to have to try to keep it short. But I don't think there's much to say here. We're trying a different camera angle. I think I'm going to put me in like a little box in the corner of this comment that I'm reacting to from X. So let's go ahead and get down to it. This comment is a perfect example of everything that I think is wrong with, I guess, particularly older men. I'm getting the idea that this guy is probably older, 50s, 60s, 70s, maybe a boomer, older Gen X. I think this is just like a typical boneheaded comment, and let's just go ahead and get right down into it. So this guy says, I'm around teenagers quite a lot. And he doesn't give any context. So it's like, oh, okay there, buddy. What are you watching them through binoculars in a dumpster, in a high school dumpster? Or what's going on with that? No context. And you'll see that is kind of a pattern going on through this guy's comment. So, okay, he's around teenagers quite a lot. I'm going to assume that he has a kid. Maybe he volunteers for sports or something. I don't know. No context. Right out the gate, this guy's a bonehead. And contrary to what you read on here, most are quite normal. They have girlfriends. They go to prom, on the team, etc. They all have girlfriends. They all go to prom. They're all on the team. That just sounded so lame to me, the way he said that. They have girlfriends, go to prom, they're on the team. I went to prom, for what it's worth, and I'm kind of in line to be like King Chud of the internet. I demand nothing less than the Iron Throne of Chuddom. But that's a different topic. Yeah, prom, man, I think some people in my chat said that they didn't go to prom, and maybe you guys feel some type of way about that. Bro, honestly, I wish that I never went to prom. I wish that I never went to, any dances ever. Or, it's tough, man. I made a video about high school dances once and how they're just kind of weird and perverted. And it's a way that, the teachers and chaperones kind of, vicariously live through children. And it's very sexualized. There's the common tradition or whatever you want to call it that they say there's a lot of pressure to have sex with your prom date. I'll bet there's a lot of women kind of getting pressured into sex that they may or may not really want to have because of prom, and it's connected to high school, and it's just kind of, I don't know, it's weird, man. That could be a video all of its own, but if you go back and watch my video about how high school dances are weird, prom is the ultimate high school dance. And yeah, I went my junior and senior year. I had a date both times. I wore a suit. I took prom pictures. Anybody who saw me there, I was dancing the whole night, hanging out with my date, danced with a couple of other girls. I looked normal. I passed with flying colors. I went to prom twice, the whole experience. My sophomore year, I played drums in the band there, and I was able to be there for free as a result, and I had my friend's dad drive me home because I didn't like being at dances, and I felt all awkward about it. And his dad was kind of like this guy in the comment, why don't you want to be at prom? There's a lot of girls there. I'd be there. But anyway, trying to get through this quick. We're not off to a great start in that regard. Most are normal. Most are quite normal. They have girlfriends, go to prom, and on the team. So that's a classic example of anecdotal evidence. And, this guy just said he's around teenagers quite a lot. And I find it funny that he didn't give any sort of context to that. He's a teacher or he's a football coach. Or that's kind of the vibe I'm getting from this guy. He probably has a son who's a football player or a wrestler, or he volunteers for the football team or basketball or something. So he has a son who's a wrestler on the football team, and he has a girlfriend, and all of his friends are wrestler football chads who have girlfriends, and that's what this guy's talking about. His son is a jock, I mean, this guy is like the most toxic normie ever. Like, yeah, all that exists is like people who have girlfriends, go to prom, and are on the team. So then he goes on to say, but there are some very weird kids, and you can tell that they're into online identities. Yeah, how can you tell? Where's the context there? No context. But there are some very weird kids that exist, and you can tell that they're into quote-unquote online identities. Well, of course weird kids exist. I mean, I think the high school stereotypes, the high school cliques are somewhat timeless. You're going to have weird kids who don't fit in. You're going to have jocks. Sounds like you seem to identify with jocks. So, you know, me kind of using some of my psychic cold reading type of stuff that I got going on here. I could definitely scam people if that's the kind of guy that I wanted to be. I used to read tarot cards and that kind of a thing. This guy strikes me like he probably, like, I don't feel like he would be a coach. I feel like a coach would have some more sense than this guy. This guy probably like volunteers for football or wrestling, or he's some sort of a volunteer. A lot of parent volunteers are really toxic because, you know, their kid's a winner. But I can tell you what, the second that his kid isn't a valuable accessory, this guy's going to become a toxic parent. It's like, you need to go practice your free throws there, Bucky. We don't have losers in this family. If you want to be a Smith, you better win next time. So, you know, there are some very weird kids that exist, but for the most part, people have girlfriends and go to prom and they're on the team. So the majority of people have girlfriends and go to prom and are on the team. And this guy hangs around teenagers a lot. But there are some very weird kids who are into online identities. You can tell. You can just tell. No context. Those kids are typically totally checked out of normal social life. Yeah, it's because of people like you, dude. It's because of people like you and your son that I'm guessing you have, because you didn't give any context for why you're around teenagers quite a lot. He's probably a mini you. And it's because of people like your son and, you know, the supposed majority of people who have girlfriends and go to prom and are on the team, which none of that really matters, dude. Like, I went to prom. Look at me. That doesn't mean shit. I went to prom twice, bro. They're totally checked out of normal social life. And what are you doing about it? You're on here virtue signaling on the internet, trying to, like, express how there's some weird kids. I mean, what kind of advice do you give them? If you give them any advice, it's probably, get off of the dang old internet and get some real friends. Get a dang old girlfriend. Go to prom. Join a team. I mean, high school's brutal, man. Like, they probably don't fit in because they're short, or they started balding early, or they're weird looking, or they're autistic. I mean, that's just how high school is. Yeah, weird kids exist. And despite your anecdote, according to research and studies and, you know, science and hard data, not just your, like, what you've seen, which is probably you have a popular son who has popular friends, is kind of what I'm gathering here. Or you're a teacher. Like, let's give an alternative guess of what this guy's about here. He could be a teacher, and I've seen this when I was in high school. You have teachers who, like I said, they try to vicariously live through the kids. So they kind of like sucker up to all the cool kids and then kind of join in on the bullying and the pariahing of the weird kids. But in reality, if I had to guess, this guy probably just makes like a weird, disgusted normie look at these people he perceives as weird. And as far as, like, you can tell that they're into online identities, he's given absolutely no context or details for why we should assume that that's the truth. And I'm not even going to assume that that's the truth. Now, the internet is very popular and universal these days. Everybody has an iPhone. Pretty much everybody's on the internet. So, you know, even though I'm not trusting his judgment of, like, you can tell, he's probably right, because everybody's on the internet. And if you don't fit in, which is very common and has always been a thing, you can go online and hopefully you don't get groomed by weird Satanists who try to turn you into a mass killer, hopefully, like, you find something positive, and then ultimately it can be something positive. But I guess the point is like, this guy's comment is completely useless and toxic, and he sounds like a boneheaded idiot, and these are like the worst people ever. So let's read the ending of it. To an extent, the online identities attract kids with pre-existing social challenges. And he doesn't give any context. Pre-existing social challenges. Okay, so like having 3 eyes, being too tall, being too short, being autistic, having literally anything wrong with them or anything that makes them different at all. Because that's pretty much how high school works. I mean, you watch any movie about high school, you watch any show about high school. I mean, I think everybody just kind of knows this is how it is, man. Like, life isn't all about high school. A lot of people who are quote-unquote weird in high school end up being really interesting people. And a lot of people who, you know, have girlfriends, go to prom, and we're on the team, grow up to not really amount to jack shit. But I will tell you that the direction that the internet has been heading these days, like, yeah, it does kind of seem like high school never ends. And especially if you have any kind of like neurotypical thing going on, it can just kind of seem like the worst kind of people, from your perspective as somebody who is a little bit different, thrive for indefinitely. So the online identities, which you haven't described or defined on any level, just online identities, attract kids with pre-existing social challenges. All very vague. You hang around teenagers quite a lot. You can tell that they have online identities, and it's because they have pre-existing social challenges. There's not a lot to go with here. Very vague. I'm getting the idea that this guy's not very smart, basically. he's not very smart, and it's a really feel-good comment for the worst kind of people, so they can all kind of project their own bullcrap on top of this, because he hasn't really defined anything. But I think that once they get into these circles, the situation becomes much worse. I think that you offer absolutely no solution at all for these kind of people. And I think that you don't like these people. You like people that are normal, which according to you is the majority, which it's just funny. Like, everybody kind of has an idea of how high school has always worked, and that's just never been the case. The majority are not the popular kids. Like, the popular kids are just kind of a upper echelon clique. But I'm not going to sit here and get into that. You know, maybe somebody could try to challenge me on that, but just what he's doing here is like, oh, you know, there's just like a few weirdos. The majority of people are regular. It's just like the most toxic kind of gaslighting. And if you know, you know. If you don't, there's a chance that you're one of these people. This guy just sucks. This comment just really sucks. And I think I've already been pretty exhaustive about it. It is a short comment, so I can read the entire thing one more time without stopping and give my final thoughts. I'm around teenagers quite a lot, and contrary to what you read on here, most are quite normal. They have girlfriends, go to prom, on the team, etc. But there's some very weird kids, and you can tell they are into online identities. Those kids are typically totally checked out of normal social life. To an extent, the online identities attract kids with pre-existing social challenges. But I think that once they get into those circles, the situation becomes much worse. You offered no solutions. You've showed no empathy. All you've really showed here is that you think they're weird, and that you can tell they're in online identities. I mean, you're online, you're posting on X, you have some sort of a persona on X, like, you know, your picture is like a picture of a pill. It's not a picture of your face, it's not your real name. So you appear to have some sort of an online identity. But why can you tell that they have online entities, and why the hell are you around teenagers quite a lot? And what kind of pre-existing social challenges do these people have? I mean, you don't really seem to be a solutions guy. You just seem seem to be a like, you know, I'm around teenagers and they all seem like they're really cool. They have girlfriends, go to prom and on the team. But weird kids exist, and I can tell that they hang out online. They're totally checked out of normal social life. I mean, there's not much I can do with this comment because there's just not really much here. This is just like an NPC thought process. Just like normal good, weird bad, online for weird people. The majority of people are normal and have girlfriends and go to prom and they're on the team. Yeah, man, just worst kind of people, worst kind of comment. This guy sucks. They're trying to get away from you, bro. They're trying to get away from people like you. And honestly, it's not even because like you're hurting their feelings. That sounds kind of like maybe it's coming from like a place of weakness. Like they're trying to get away from you because you're terrorizing them, because you're making them feel small. Honestly, they're probably smarter than you, dude. These kids on their online communities, they're probably smarter than you. Maybe I bump into them every now and then and they got some like crazy anime picture and some goofy name and they're probably like funny and smart for their age, and they realize that high school doesn't mean shit and being on the team doesn't mean shit. Most of those people on the team aren't going to play fucking pro sports. Like probably none of them are going to play pro sports. I know enough jocks to know that like for every like chatty jock who makes it to the NFL, there's like 1,000 chatty jocks who get like a torn ACL or a bum knee or a bum shoulder and develop an opiate addiction and have a fucked up life. Sports is like an absolute meat grinder. Oh, wow, they go to prom. Dude, I went to prom. That means absolutely nothing. I wish that I didn't go to prom. I'd advise people to not go to prom. And they have girlfriends. Well, that's probably what there's the most statistics for right now. And I don't know, dude, the statistics are saying that most guys don't have girlfriends in high school. So I'm going to go with the statistics because they're scientific. And you don't sound very smart, dude. So what is that? 17 minutes? Perfect. That's a really short Reformed Stoic video. Let's leave it at that, guys. This guy's a bonehead. So there you go. God bless.